Welcome everybody to Team 3242's PodCats PodCats, where we'll be talking about the fourth week of our robotics competition. So guys, how's it been going in week 4?
It's been going all right. We actually got to start wiring this week.
Oh, nice. Electrical's finally doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you guys were finally getting all this stuff wired on the board to put in the robot.
Yeah. So all we really need for the board is the CAN wire, like the signal wire for everything. And then when the robot gets built, we need to put it on the robot and attach like our motors and stuff like that for it. But so what we have on there is our RoboRio, which is like the computer or like the brains of the robot. And then we have our power distribution board, which gives power to everything. And then our motor controllers and pneumatics controller.
Nice. I mean, and you look like you guys were getting almost done with all that.
Yeah.
So then you just gotta wait on build.
Yep. Again.
Speaking of all the build stuff, I was helping Jorian a lot with the intake system, and everything seemed to be going all right. You know, we thought everything was going okay, and then we ran into some technical difficulties of actually grabbing the ball, unless we were going at very fast speeds. Yeah, you guys remember that. A lot of programming was done with that, trying to get it to slow down, and then it didn't work. But we ended up coming up with an idea of using brackets to try to hold everything in place and hopefully distribute the wheels that are grabbing the ball. But with more testing, it seemed to do better, but not the best. So yeah, that's what a lot of Bill's been doing. We got a lot more of the chassis done. So hopefully we can get all that finished, and then you can put all your stuff finally on something that's a robot for once. Richard, how's the programming been going?
I mean, I think programming has been doing pretty good this week. We've been working on a couple different things at once. We've kind of separated into teams to work on them. So we have a team working on autonomous, and what they're doing now is they're actually programming in the distances and making sure the robot can go a sit distance for autonomous programs. We also have 2 other teams. One of them is working on all the subsystems for the programming. So they're just getting all of the different things like LEDs and controller classes set up to be able to make it easier for us to read and organize and work on separately rather than just working on it all in one document. And there's the last team that we have is we're the team working on vision. So that team is almost done with the networking the RoboRio through the Arduino to the Pixie and actually sending information back and forth and working with it on the RoboRio code.
Nice. I see you also brought something else.
Yes, we brought our controller that we've been working on. So we actually have gotten it working to where if you just strum the key, it can go forward. And we also have the buttons to where you can turn them and go backward on it.
Yeah, that's it's a very unique designed control scheme. I know when it was originally being tested, it was getting it to where the faster you strum, the faster it goes.
This is still in that phase.
It is still there?
Yeah, we want to have the most interaction.
Yeah, a lot more personality in the driver themselves, I would say. You know, like how fast you want to strum, that's how fast you go.
Plus, it works for fine-tuned controls as well. So if you only want to go a smaller speed, then you have to strum less.
That's a good point. You know, it adds more precision, more accuracy, different movement. You know, a lot of like game controllers and buttons use specific types of hand gestures, but that just utilizes whole arm movement, wrist movement, going all over the buttons.
And there's also a gyro, so if you turn the guitar upwards, you can actually get values from that as well. So you can implement that into your program, which we haven't done yet, but it might be in progress.
And any thoughts? Maybe possibly having it where it turns the robot?
We were thinking about lifting it up make the LEDs do a different animation than normal.
Of course, LEDs help everything.
Yeah.
There's every time you need to complete a task, you put some LEDs on it, and it's always better. That's always one of electrical's main plans, isn't it, Carson? You're like electrical board first, but LEDs are a close second.
Very close.
But working together, I know there's a lot of like electrical and programming aspects with a lot of the motor controllers. I know you guys were there was some stuff going on with that.
Yeah.
Testing the sparks and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So we got these new motors and motor controllers this year, and so we've just been testing out those.
Yeah. So I think that's been going pretty well though. It seemed like it was all being understood, you know. I know there were some times with the motors where they just stopped giving values, which I'm sure every programmer always loves.
Yes, we
A lack of
that.
values. You see the motor spinning, but it's telling you it's stationary.
Or just not telling us anything at all.
Oh, just nothing, just a complete absence of
Yeah.
any readings. Going back to all the CAN stuff, I know we have like motors that are much further out
Yeah.
than what we're usually used to. So is that going to
Yeah.
cause like some new challenges that have to be taken on, trying to get wiring across the entire robot without it messing up?
For our lift, the motors that are on the intake, so what we're going to do is we're going to do what we did last year with our E-chain, which just holds the wire in place as the lift will go up and down. And then the drive motors, because they have like a special signal wire that goes to the sparks, you need to have the sparks very close to those motors, so they need to be kind of like away from the board there. But
So nothing too tough, but
Yeah.
there's a few new things that have been
Yeah.
moved around. Okay. And I remember you were talking about different autonomous, like modes and distances or something.
Yeah, we have, I think, 12 different, different cases that we can use. So all of them are from like different starting positions and going to different places. And with the cargo and the bay that we have, the cargo bay and the rocket, we have to go to different places to put those in. So we're working on getting angles so we can actually make sure that we're aligned with the rocket.
That should be pretty useful for like alliances and everything. Like no matter who we get paired up with, we'll hopefully have a situation that works with the other ones.
Yeah, it's what it's basically for. That's why we have so many. It's to make sure that we can always have a program to run if our alliances are from different, we're only programmed for their specific like right or left.
Yeah, it's like oh, we need to be on this. We need to have a ball or the cargo. We need to go and do it in here. So hopefully we don't have like 3 people trying to all put a ball in the same cargo in the same holding area on anything, because that probably would be a big old waste of time. The specific 12 autonomous modes. So just going like hypothetical examples. So it would be like if we were like the leftmost robot and we had like a hatch, and then we could go to a rocket ship, but you also would have one if we were on like the right side and we're going to do cargo into the middle holding bay area. So like that's kind of like what we're going for, something like that?
Pretty much. Basically doing anything from anywhere. So even if you're on the left side, maybe going over to the right rocket if that's what our team needs.
Will there be any that, because if I remember correctly, you can start on the level 2 platform, like the one higher up, right?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so like will there be any that include that aspect in it?
I mean, I don't think there will be because it's not that useful because we're going a shorter distance if we start off of it. And it's less work if we have to program it to go just forward instead of going down and then going forward.
Okay. So Richard, going off the whole new control scheme of the guitar, I do remember that there was a button board being worked on that would be like kind of separate from the rest of the drive.
It would be like a supplement to the guitar. So you would press the button and then it would raise up a specific height. That way you don't have to program the fine controls into the guitar, which the only thing that we would be able to do with that is if the remaining buttons. But those are used for other things. So we want to have a separate button board that kind of controls all the aspects that can't be controlled with the guitar. And there's also a joystick on the button board. So if we wanted to bring in another aspect where we would have a moving object, so like moving forward with the strumming and then moving up and down with the buttons, so we would have like a movable camera or something like that with the joystick.
Cool stuff. Carson, going back into the electrical and going off in wire management, you know, trying to manage all that stuff. How's that been going?
So, well, with that, I mean, all I really want to do is make sure that it doesn't look like a bowl of spaghetti, right?
Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah.
So, you just have to like zip tie everything down, make sure it looks very clean, so that if something happens and something does get pulled out, you know exactly where it is.
Yeah, I could.
Unlike a bowl of spaghetti, that you just have to dig around.
Do you eat a lot of black and red spaghetti?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's very peculiar. Yeah, I could imagine pulling out the electrical board and being like, oh, there's some wire loose somewhere probably, and you're like, time to...
Then you just find a random wire just sitting there, and then you're like, I don't know where this went.
Where this go to? It's kind of like when you pull out your headphones out of your pocket, and it's just like a big old jumble mesh. You're like, not today, I guess. Not today. It's just not happening. Yeah, that's been all the week 4 stuff. Still moving along. Hopefully we'll have a robot done eventually. I mean, we're probably all expecting like next week you should be able to get like a lot of like the electrical stuff in and everything, and start actually getting all the systems put onto the chassis and everything. So hopefully that's what we're shooting for. Thank you for watching, guys. You can check out our week 4 video to see other footage of what's been going on, some interviews possibly, and thanks for listening.